Hi guys, you're here with me, Chris.
And me, Jake.
And me, Ben.
Me, Demands.
Now we've all been playing on the Destiny beta.
No, you haven't. No, answer was.
I have.
No.
Have we all been playing it, or have you and Jake been hogging the controls?
We played the Destiny beta.
And we watched you.
Yeah.
Okay, so two of us have been playing the Destiny beta.
Two of us have played the Destiny alpha.
Whoa.
The divide already.
Divide.
So what did you guys think?
Buy it now. Go.
Really?
There's a computer right there. Yes. Go and buy it now.
What did you like about it, man?
Everything, buy it now. It's just everything you could want in a shooting game. The RPG side, the sly MMO side, sick graphics, the
It
customizability.
does look really solid
You
for,
could go on and on.
for what's apparently a beta build.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was quite sceptical when I played the alpha. When you traditionally hear alpha, you think, God, this is going to be an absolute pile of dross. But to play, it seemed like a pretty well scripted part of the game. It wasn't all perfectly running, there was frame rate issues and there was slightly glitchy areas. But for the most part, it looked like a pretty strong portion of gameplay. Alpha has this just horrible sort of association with the word. You just expect it to be a bug fest, but it was pretty good. And from what we've played at the beta tonight, I think that obviously they've continued on from there and they've made it pretty awesome.
How do the two stack up? Because we were kind of playing through some of the betas tonight, and you guys spent a lot of time with the alpha.
Yeah, I mean, I reached the top level in the alpha. I probably spent like a sum total of 15 hours playing it, which I mean isn't a lot compared to some people, but we were only on for 4 days, so I did what I could.
I just packed
Whoa,
15,
man, I'm
15
so
hours
fucking
playing
sorry. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that overlaps, some stuff that's in the alpha. A couple of the missions in the alpha are actually in the beta as well. They haven't changed as such in terms of content, but you can tell why refinements have been made, graphical improvements and things. I mean, personally, I think that we're on track for a really awesome launch in September.
I mean, it looked sumptuous. I mean, it's just, and it does feel Halo-y.
Definitely.
Like in terms of the pace of it. Like I don't know, everything in Halo feels very deliberate, very sort of not exactly slow, but kind of
there's no rush.
There's no rush about it. It's just
you don't have to rush when you're the Master Chief.
Absolutely, and the aliens are kind of big and chunky and
it's also very dumb.
Well
arms,
incredibly dumb.
It's stupidly dumb.
AI was an issue for me in the beta.
How are they going to fix that? Is that plan?
You could walk up, 360, knife them, swear at them, call them on words, and it still wouldn't shoot you.
Yeah, it's uncharted territory at the moment. We don't know if they're going to significantly improve the AI, if the AI scales as you level.
Yeah,
I certainly hope so. I don't want to.
Well, we're only in the beginner area.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point. But there was like one mission where there was sort of a few aliens kind of swarming around there, and I was probably about 10 feet away from them, give or take, and they didn't notice me.
Yeah.
And so I sort of
So you just roll a grenade.
Yeah, basically, it was just pay attention to me.
I
demand your attention.
You just look like the sad child in the corner there.
Exactly. It's like nobody wants to play with me and my plasma rifle. It's that was odd. But it seemed odd because it was such a polished game. Like everything is so slick, as you'd expect from Bungie.
I mean that's a good point. I mean, sort of slickness, especially with like the menus, that's quite impressed me with how well integrated everything is at this point in time. Creating your fire teams, which is, for those who don't know, it's essentially a squad, which so far is up to 3 people. Easy to join your friends, easy to join missions together. When you come to scripted cutscenes, it's a nice integration. You're just seeing sort of your character interact with the NPC. Excellent.
Yeah, it is.
If that's what we're expecting to see across the board in the whole game, and with as few glitches as we've witnessed in our few hours playing it all together tonight, then You know, September is really going to
Bring
be
it on. Also, when you bear in mind the sort of projected lifespan of this game,
Well,
they've got what appears to me to be a pretty solid foundation to build on.
oh yeah. I mean, begs the question: will they ever have a sequel within this console generation? You know, the pledge that Activision have made, $500 million, 10-year game.
Well, you wouldn't have thought there'd be a sequel in this generation with that amount of development going into this one title. There's going to be countless expansions. It's going to be it's going to be a sort of World of Warcraft-esque. Sort of it's the same game.
Effectively.
But here's the new area.
Yeah.
Whether I don't know what sort of pricing structures you'd put on that, but
well, I mean, judging from what we know already, some of the game versions are coming with the DLC season pass, they're calling it, but that only actually equates to chapters 1 and 2 of the downloadable content, which is roughly about 35 quid, or I think it actually translates to $35 as well. So if that's the season pass as it stands now, that's just 2 chapters. Let's assume that they're going to release them within the space of 12 months rather than sort of 3 months.
That's
how many
confusing as hell. So
how many chapters can you have a year?
So do you buy? So you buy the game? You buy like the game itself, and you buy in chapters, or as opposed to like a monthly subscription?
You'll buy Destiny. It's free to play apart from whatever online subscription model you need for each console. Because it's not on PC as well, which is I think a fairly substantial point. But we'll get onto that. And then you've got these expansion packs, which are then separate from the main game. So presumably the main game has its own end game, and then these expansions will be, hopefully, quite large chunks of gameplay to throw at, those guys who are going to be committed for the future.
So it's sort of like, right, there's your story. Now, if you want to play some cool content with your friends, buy this. Is that the chapters that they're introducing from the blurbs that they've announced, they're like across the board. So in the main game you've got your single player, you effectively your raids if you go into sort of MMO territory, and then you've got the Crucible, which is the PvP competitive multiplayer side of things, which is more like a traditional shooter, except obviously all the gear that you're in game you can then use in your multiplayer. The expansions expand in all of those areas, so it's not just map packs for Crucible. It's new missions for single player, new fireteam raids, new maps, new armors, new weapons. It's across the board. So with each one, theoretically, you're adding a lot of value to the game. The pricing structure is up in the air, hopefully reasonable, especially for those of us who are really excited for the game now, and poor, and hope that we can continue to play.
Any idea like how many hours like a chapter would be, or they not really kind of said that? Or and I guess they're all different as well.
I would think
some of them might be PvP.
For the RPG side of it, going back to Warcraft, it's like months for an expansion patch, whatever you want to call it. For a 10-year game, I should think it lasts you more than a week's play.
You'd hope so, but I mean that's a big chunk of hype, though, isn't it? I mean the whole we've spent this much money on it, it's going to last 10 years. That so many people tried to make like a Warcraft beta, as in like this game will last as long as Warcraft, and people
none of them have come close.
I know, nothing has. I think it's brave of them, but they've got like the right pieces. I mean, it's very Halo-esque in terms of the shooter controls. It's very Mass Effect-y in terms of the setting. It's very Warcraft-y in terms of the the universe and collecting loot. They're really ticking a lot of boxes. So, I think it could work, or it could fail awfully. Because I seem to remember the most recent Star Wars MMO being kind of set up in a similar fashion.
I mean, how often do game developers go back on the word, though, at the end of the day? Who is to say that it will end up being a 10-year game? Who's to say this console generation is even going to last 10 years? And they haven't even got the game coming out on PC, which is neglecting quite a substantial portion of the gaming community.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, like me. I want it on PC.
Well, it's obviously a big
it's a big decision to make.
You're
releasing a multi-console game.
Yeah, or like
you don't put it
not
on PC.
Not only that, you're touting that as the biggest game you've ever made as a company.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about Activision, who are, you know, the producers of Call of Duty, which is probably currently, apart from games like WoW, the biggest recognised gaming franchise in the world, the highest selling, highest grossing on an annual basis. And you're pledging this game as the next really big thing, and you're segregating your community because the PC gamers are getting absolutely no love from a game that really is destined to be on PC, one could say.
Oh, it's too easy. It's far too easy to do any kind of puns.
I'll leave the room now.
With a game
So punny.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. I enjoyed the time I spent with it. I'm kind of intrigued to see what happens. It's great. You can kind of play with your friends.
Yeah, the social aspect of it, I think, is going to be the biggest pull for me.
Yeah.
For me, definitely, it seems like a game you can have a lot of fun on with. I'm sure we will.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I've got a question for you guys. How many friends can play at once though?
I think it's only 3 at the moment, isn't it?
I think
one for each class, I guess, isn't it?
I think fire teams, as it stands, are made up of 3 characters. It doesn't have to be 3 of one of each class, though. It could be 3 of the same, or because the classes only really vary in.
Did you guys play different classes in the alpha?
Yeah.
Was there much kind of variation between them as they leveled up? Because I think at the beginning they're all quite similar.
Yeah. Same at the beginning.
All can use guns. All unlock a grenade as their first ability. That sort of thing.
Well, the 3 classes you've got: Titan, which is typically sort of tank warrior role; Hunter, which is like rogue weapons; and then Warlock, which is more about magic. The beta and the alpha only go up to level 8, so you only experience a certain amount of their full potential.
It's the same with a lot of things. You don't tend to see a lot of variation in the very early stages.
Yeah, of course.
So it's quite hard to say early on.
But you miss out on what would define them classes really from one another on these small portions of the game, which I think is not necessarily a missed trick, because you don't want to see what's in the bag. You know, you want to save something for the game, especially when now 2 full months away from launch. Me and Mats have played 2 versions of the game already. You know, we want to wait and see what's going to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like how the menu screen teases you with all the kind of abilities that you can have.
Yeah,
look at what you could have won.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a level 60.
Convey about it. Look what you could have.
Level 60, you'll get the ability to set people on fire with your mind.
It's not just the abilities. It's the weapons as well. You know, you're scrolling through the vendor and it's like level 19, 600 damage, and it's like, oh god.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that annoys me a little bit, because obviously they are just trying to appeal to so many different demographics, things like that, but this does it really well.
Yeah,
actually, they genuinely are kind of bolting on things that appeal to lots of other people and doing it well.
Yeah,
not sacrificing other aspects of their game to appeal to more people.
I think that you do find a lot of that in gaming development these days. Not only sacrificing, but adding things like adding inane multiplayer to games that are traditionally single player. You know,
or RPG elements to a sort of shooter, for example. It's a lot of kind of games kind of sort of bolted on just for the hell of it, just to appeal to the sort of collectionist.
Exactly.
Whereas this, it's still a good shooter, even though it's got RPG elements. It's still a great RPG, even though it's a shooter.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever played Fallout 3.
Yes.
Because I think that was more of a pure RPG than it was a shooter. You know, the way that the game's ranking system works and skill system work defined, you know, the way that you could stand and shoot at somebody at point blank range and still miss them. You know, because there was that sort of element
dice rolling.
Dice rolling in the RPG based on your skills. You know, more algorithms and whatever involved. Whereas this is obviously, I think first and foremost, probably bred through as a shooter. You know, Bungie's main forte was Halo. You know, one of the most
this feels like Halo.
Popular franchises. You know, that there has been up to now, and it shows. You know, it's got game pedigree, but I think the future's bright. Definitely for Destiny. I've got mine pre-ordered. Mats has got his pre-ordered. Chris has got his white Destiny PS4 pre-ordered.
I might get one.
Maybe.
I'm gonna have
Levi's
to- I'm gonna
piping
have
up.
to.
Levi's gonna get one.
That's still good.
Jake's
It's fine.
Jake's moving to London, so he's got no money.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna buy a house, then I might buy this.
You're going to buy Destiny, then buy a house.
Well, I want to buy a house first, and we've got Destiny.
Sorry,
Because
dude.
Destiny has chosen.
Oh.
Oh, that's bad. Sorry.
So yeah, I think that about wraps it up for this one.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be another demo. Maybe.
Maybe.
No,
Early access.
Yeah, a gamma.
Gamma.
Sometimes they do that.
Yeah, we'll just
An
continue
Omega.
A
continue
Balfour.
through the Greek,
Yeah.
Greek
Yeah.
alphabet.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching.
Yes, thanks guys.
Thanks.
Catch you next time.